You've been lied to about sourdough, not maliciously, just commercially. Because somewhere along the way, the bread industry convinced us that making real fermented bread requires a precious, carefully maintained starter that you buy online, name like a pet, feed twice a day, and treat like a houseplant that will definitely die if you look at it wrong. And if you've ever killed a sourdough starter, and most people have, you know exactly the guilt spiral that follows. But here's what nobody is telling you. Humans were making fermented bread thousands of years before anyone ever sold a starter in a cute little jar. Ancient Egyptians were doing it. Mesopotamians were doing it. Every culture on Earth that ever made bread figured out fermentation on their own, from scratch, using nothing but grain and water and the wild biology that surrounds all of us constantly. And not just occasionally. They did it every single day for entire civilizations, to feed families, to feed armies, to feed cities. So today I'm going to show you the method that connects all of that history, the ancient Egyptian beer bread technique. And I want to be clear about what this actually is, because the name sounds exotic, but the concept is almost embarrassingly simple. Ancient Egyptians understood that bread and beer are essentially the same process. Fermented grain. They used fermented grain liquid, essentially a primitive beer or ale, to leaven their bread. The wild yeasts and bacteria in that liquid did all the work. No packet of commercial yeast. No purchased starter. Just grain, water, time, and the invisible ecosystem that lives in your own kitchen. And the beautiful part is that once you understand this system, you will never be without leavening again. You will never need to buy yeast. You will never stress about maintaining a delicate starter, because this method regenerates itself. You use some, you make more. It feeds your family this week and next week and the week after that for as long as you want it to. Let me explain the biology first, because I think it genuinely makes you better at this when you understand what's happening. Your kitchen is full of wild yeast. It's on the grain you buy at the store. It's floating in the air. It's on your hands. When you mix flour and water together and leave it at room temperature, those yeasts begin to wake up and eat the sugars in the flour. As they eat, they produce carbon dioxide, which is what makes bread rise. But wild yeast fermentation also produces something that commercial yeast doesn't: lactic acid bacteria. Those bacteria produce acids that give fermented bread its flavor, its tang, its depth. They also make the bread more digestible by breaking down the phytic acid in grain that your body struggles to process. Traditional fermented bread is nutritionally superior to modern yeasted bread. That's not opinion, that's biochemistry. Now here's where the beer part comes in. When you ferment grain in water, not just flour, but actual whole or cracked grain steeped in water, you create an environment that wild yeast absolutely thrives in. The grain releases sugars into the liquid. The temperature, the starch, the nutrients in the water create this perfect yeast habitat. Egyptians figured this out empirically. They noticed that bread made with fermented grain water rose better, tasted better, kept longer. They were essentially brewing a very simple ale and then using that ale as their leavening agent. The method I'm going to walk you through is a modernized version of this, adapted for a home kitchen, but it follows the same principles that have worked for 6,000 years. You're going to start with what I call the grain steep. Take about a cup of whole wheat berries, or cracked wheat, or even just rolled oats if that's what you have. Coarse ground cornmeal also works. You want a grain with some starch and some nutrition to it. Place that grain in a jar or a bowl. Cover it with about 2 cups of unchlorinated water, and this is important. Chlorinated tap water will kill your wild yeast, so use filtered water or leave tap water out overnight, and the chlorine will off-gas, and then just let it sit, covered with a cloth, not a lid. You want airflow. You want to invite the wild yeast in. Leave it at room temperature for 2 days. By day 2, you should start seeing tiny bubbles. That's your yeast waking up. On day 3, strain the liquid off your grain. Keep that liquid. This is your fermented grain water. It smells slightly sour, slightly yeasty, a little bit like the early stages of beer. That smell is exactly what you want. Now take that liquid and mix it with an equal volume of flour. So, if you have a cup of fermented grain water, add a cup of flour. Stir it thoroughly. Cover it with a cloth and leave it for another 12 to 24 hours depending on how warm your kitchen is. Warmer kitchens ferment faster. You're looking for it to get bubbly, slightly domed on top, and to have a pleasantly sour smell. When that happens, you have your leavening base. Here's where the self-sustaining part kicks in. When you're ready to bake, use about 3/4 of your leavening base in your bread. With the remaining quarter, add fresh flour and fresh water, stir it well, and leave it out again. It will reactivate within hours because it's now colonized with a thriving yeast culture. You never start from zero again. Every time you bake, you're maintaining the culture for the next bake. The grain steep method just means that you can always restart from absolute zero if something goes wrong, because you understand the whole process now. You don't need to buy anything. For the bread itself, the ancient Egyptian style is a flatbread or a simple half loaf. And I'm going to give you the basic recipe that can feed a family and that scales up incredibly easily. Take 2 cups of your leavening base. Add 3 cups of flour. I like to use half whole wheat and half all-purpose, but you can use whatever ratio you have. Add a teaspoon of salt. Add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil if you want a softer crumb, though this is optional. Mix it all together into a shaggy dough. It will be stickier than you're used to if you've only made commercial yeast bread. That's okay. Resist the urge to add more flour. Wet dough makes better bread. Knead it for about 10 minutes, or do a series of stretch and folds over a couple of hours, which is more gentle on the gluten structure. Then leave it covered for anywhere from 4 hours at room temperature to overnight in the refrigerator. The longer the ferment, the better the flavor and digestibility. When you're ready to bake, shape your loaf, let it rest for about an hour, and bake it in a very hot oven, and I mean very hot. 450 degrees Fahrenheit at minimum. If you have a Dutch oven, use it. Put the Dutch oven in while the oven preheats, get it screaming hot, then drop your dough in, cover it, bake for 20 minutes covered, then remove the lid and bake another 20 to 25 minutes until you get a deep dark crust. The crust is where the flavor lives. Don't be scared of dark bread. Now, let me talk about the flatbread version, because this is honestly what I think is even more revolutionary for busy families. Take your leavening base, mix it with enough flour to make a soft but workable dough. Add salt, let it ferment for just 2 to 4 hours, then pull off golf ball-sized pieces and roll them out thin, like a 1/4 inch or less. Cook them directly on a dry cast iron skillet over medium-high heat. About 2 to 3 minutes per side, until they puff and get brown spots. These are extraordinary. They're chewy, they're flavorful, they have all the nutrition of properly fermented grain, and they come together fast enough to make for a weeknight dinner. Kids love them. You can wrap them around anything. The thing I want you to really absorb here is not just the technique, but the mindset shift that comes with it. Modern bread culture has made fermentation seem like a hobby for people, with a lot of time and a high tolerance for failure. But fermentation is not a hobby. It's a fundamental human technology. It's how people kept themselves fed before refrigerators, before grocery stores, before commercial yeast was even a concept. Every culture on Earth developed some version of this. Ethiopian injera, Indian idli, West African ogi, German rye bread. They're all the same principle. Wild fermentation making grain more useful, more nutritious, more delicious. When you understand this, you realize that the grocery store yeast packet is actually the weird modern aberration. Wild fermentation is the default. It's the thing that happens when you get out of the way and let biology do what it's been doing for billions of years. There's also a real food security argument here that I think matters more than most people realize. If you depend entirely on commercial yeast for bread, you depend on an industrial supply chain. Same with store-bought starters. But if you know how to capture wild yeast from nothing but grain and water, you can make bread anywhere, anytime, with the most basic ingredients on Earth. This is knowledge that has practical value. It's not just a fun cooking project. I've been making bread this way for a long time now, and the thing that still gets me is the flavor. There's genuinely no comparison to commercial yeast bread. The fermentation process develops hundreds of flavor compounds that fast yeast bread simply doesn't have time to create. The crust has depth, the crumb has complexity. It tastes like bread is supposed to taste. which is to say it tastes like something that took time and intention to make, because it did. And the grain steep method specifically gives the bread this slightly nutty, slightly earthy quality that I think comes from those whole grains in the initial ferment. It's different from a standard flour and water starter. It has more character. There's a reason Egyptians were making beer bread for thousands of years. They weren't doing it because they had no other options. They were doing it because it worked, because it tasted incredible, and because it nourished people deeply. Start your grain steep tonight. Seriously, if you have grain in your pantry and a jar and filtered water, you can start this process in the next 5 minutes. By this time next week, you will have made real fermented bread from a culture you built yourself, and you will understand something about food and fermentation and human history that most people walking around today have completely lost. And once you have it, you don't lose it again. You carry it forward. You feed your family with it. You teach your kids how to do it. That's what bread is supposed to be.